now, South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. All right, you heard what the admiral had to say. They're not taking strikes within Iran off the table. You've advocated for them for a long time here. There are those who actually worry about that. They say this is how America, in Salon, this quote, gets dragged into endless wars, retaliations in which the moment may feel justified by unacceptable attacks of these militias, put us on a path, though, toward a war that doesn't serve our interests, that we cannot afford, and one whose victory we can't define and whose exit we cannot envision.
Well, the admiral's a good man. I think he does a good job telling a story that's hard to tell. Our national security is in free fall. Morgan Ortega's made a very good point. Look at the record for the last 3 years. This is a symptom of a greater problem. We withdrew from Afghanistan. The Taliban took over in 2021. Showing weakness, Putin invades Ukraine in 2022. In 2023, Hamas attacks Israel, killing more Jews than any time since the Holocaust. 2024, we're having Americans killed by Iranian proxies in the Mideast. They're pushing us all over the place. Our national security is in free fall. Here's what works. Hit something they value. Soleimani was killed with a single strike. He was their General Patton and Eisenhower. There was nothing left but a smoldering car and a ring finger. It worked. They got back in a box.
But wait a minute, just real quickly there, because the admiral noted there were attacks on U.S. interests after that.
Yeah, but they are in a box. I don't remember it like this. 160 attacks. We'll kill one guy. We got out of the Iranian nuclear agreement. We cut their money off. They were the weakest they've been. Now they're the strongest and most provocative. Admiral, here's what we need to do. You need to hit something the Ayatollah values. His leadership team, like a Soleimani, or take him out of the oil business. If we hit their oil infrastructure, you don't need manned aircraft. They've got 4 refineries you can see from space. If you knock one of them out, they would stop this. Our American troops are in harm's way. If the goal is to deter Iran, you're failing miserably. If the goal is to protect American troops, you're not achieving your goal. If you've convinced Iran we don't want a wider war, they believe you. Oh, I don't want a war with you. They got the message. What they're not afraid of us. They were afraid of Trump. They're not afraid of us. Look what happened in Afghanistan in 21. Look what happened in Europe in 2022. 2023, Hamas attacks Israel. It is not working. We need to change our policy. People are not afraid of us. This idea of hitting hundreds of targets, it doesn't matter. The only Iranian we killed in Syria, Iraq, is some dumbass that doesn't know to get out of the way. We gave them a week's notice. So if there are another round of strikes coming, I hope they really will hurt Iran in their pocketbook or kill their leadership, because if you don't, nothing changes.
All right, both you and the admiral have served in uniform.
Yes.
You understand the risks of, getting more broadly involved in these things. Do you think there needs to be a request from the White House for authorized use of military force?
Absolutely not. The admiral's dead right. President Biden has all the authority under Article 2 to protect troops in the field. To those who want to get it approved by Congress, every commander-in-chief can protect our troops. They're over there to prevent ISIS from coming back. They're just not on vacation. They're not hanging out in the Mideast. They're there to make sure ISIS and Al-Qaeda do not attack us here.
Okay,
Iran is trying to drive us out of the Mideast, and the response we're giving is inadequate to the task. They do not believe or fear that we will hit what matters most to them, their oil infrastructure or their leadership.
Okay. You guys don't agree on that, but you do agree on the AUMF. Okay, so I want to get to this. You have spent a lot of time in the region, obviously. You have met with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Our administration is pushing for talk of a two-state deal, which he clearly does not want to have. Reuters also reporting about conversations that former UK Prime Minister David Cameron, now the Foreign Secretary, has had. They spell it out this way. He told Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to, quote, start talking about the things a Palestinian state can be rather than things it can't be, reiterating a British support for a two-state solution. What should our position be?
I think it is irresponsible and dangerous to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state until you first achieve peace with Israel. It would be like recognizing the Germans in the middle of the Holocaust. On October the 7th, there was an attack by Hamas that killed 1,400 Jews. They raped women, put babies in ovens. We will not reward them for that attack. I've been working with the administration. They've done a very good job of trying to get Saudi and Israel to end the Arab-Israeli conflict. We need to deal with the Palestinian issue, but nobody in Israel is going to recognize a Palestinian state until there's first peace with Israel. Nobody in Israel is going to reward this attack. Nobody's going to give the Palestinian state after being slaughtered by Hamas. So to my friend David Cameron, who I like a bunch, it is a horribly bad idea to talk about a Palestinian state unilaterally granted until there's first peace and security with Israel. You've got it backwards. So nobody in Israel is going to recognize a Palestinian state until Israel first has peace and security, and that's the way it should be.
Well, it's been centuries, probably millennia, in the wait for that. We'll see if we get there. Before you go, I want to make sure that we talk about the border, because we've been waiting on the deal. We think we'll get the text on Sunday. Here, as of Sunday morning, we're still waiting. Now, we're told that even though we don't have text yet, there will be a move potentially to get this to a vote on the Senate floor before you guys leave for a 2-week recess in February. There are a lot of folks out there who don't want to see the deal at all. The others who say I'm open, but am I going to vote that quickly?
Well, the process, the oldest game in town is to bring an important piece of legislation right before a holiday or right before a break. So process-wise, we're not going to deal with this next week. It's too important. Substance, I've been involved in the negotiations. What they have achieved, as far as I know, we haven't seen it yet, is a real change in asylum. It's a real change in parole. It's a real change in expedited removal. Here's what Trump said. We do a very good job considering the laws are so bad. They're not archaic, they're incompetent. It's not that they're old, they're just bad. And we can't get any Democrat vote to change them. That was in 2018. There are Democrats willing to change the asylum law to make it better, to deal with parole, to enhance expedited removal. Substantively, James Lankford, I think, has done a pretty good job. I'm going to wait and see what the final bill looks like. But on process, there's no way we're going to be jammed. We're not going to take up something this important, pass it right before a 2-week break. On the substance, I hope people keep an open mind. If you believe, as President Trump does, our laws are broken, well, you got to fix them. H.R. 2 is the gold standard. It passed the House.
Will not pass in the Senate.
Okay, let me explain. You're dead right, Shannon. That's why you're doing this show. You're so smart. In the House, it lost 2 Republican votes, did not gain 1 Democratic vote. We took H.R. 2 up on the floor of the Senate. We lost Rand Paul. We didn't pick up 1 vote. So bringing a bill that fails doesn't solve a problem. You know how you solve a problem? You do what Lankford is doing. You sit down with the other side and you negotiate. I appreciate what Senator Lankford's done. To those who push H.R. 2, it's not going to happen. So if it doesn't happen, you got to do something else.
Well, you know what they're going to say. In contrast to that, if you put up a Senate bill that won't pass in the House, that's also dead on arrival. So we'll see, but hopefully we get the text very soon.
I hope that Speaker Johnson will look at the substance of it, and we'll see if it's worthy of being voted on in the House. But I want to just tell you that Senator Lankford is doing the best he can to fix a problem that's been around for a long time.
No one's going to get everything they want.
Amen.
Senator, good to see you. We'll only have to bleep you once today. Good to have you.
Good.
Yeah, for you. All right.